Today, we're going to try out some redesigns for the adult versions of Shulk and Rex in Future Redeemed. In case you didn't know, the protagonists of the two previous Xenoblade games feature prominently in this DLC, now as older and more experienced versions of their teenage selves. And you'd think that such an obviously fan-servicey decision would come with some brand new designs that make them look super special and cool. Unfortunately, that's not what we got. To be perfectly honest, both these designs give me the impression that the artist just gave up. They aren't really bad designs. The color choice and color placement are done well enough to make them look decent, even if they're uninteresting. You can definitely tell that these weren't done by an amateur. However, the mere fact that they're so uninteresting, especially compared to the other designs that these characters have had, is too glaring to ignore. Like, you had so many sources to draw inspiration from, and the best you could come up with is big gray coats covered in belts. I mean, it's not like this surfaces the storytelling. Neither Shulk nor Rex are trying to hide their identities or lay low, and the game itself isn't trying to be subtle with their inclusion either. In fact, it's filled to the brim with cute catchphrases and references and Easter eggs to constantly remind you that these are indeed the same characters you knew and loved. So, if you're gonna shove it in our faces anyway, why not go all out with the design too? Why are their appearances the only things that aren't meant to punch you in the gut with nostalgia? Like, as a character designer, I find this kind of thing almost offensive. So, naturally, I had to see what I could do to try to fix that. Let's start with Shulk. Of the two, I think that Shulk's is definitely the better design. At first glance, with his long blonde hair, he makes me think of the Architect, but upon closer inspection, it's clear that his adult design is mostly a reference to Dunban, from the cape to the hairstyle to the disabled right arm. Despite this, they made sure to add in his classic sweater, and they made the cape his signature red color so that you can still recognize this character as Shulk. Of course, let's not pretend that this is the absolute best they could have done. For instance, when I thought about how I would go about giving Shulk a big, edgy, badass jacket, my first thought was to just take the iconic sleeveless jacket he already wears and simply extend it. Once again, the circle designs are back, only bigger and bolder to make those silver rings really stand out against the rest of the design. And because I left the red color there, I changed the color of the cape back to black, which kind of makes it look like it's Dunban's own cape, like he left it to Shulk after he died or something. Notice that I actually drew the trademark patterns on the cape instead of leaving it blank like in the canon design, because for some reason Monolith Soft's artists have become deathly afraid of decorating clothes. Anyway, besides the big red coat, I added an extended version of the strippity-strap knee accessories from Shulk's original design, and shorter versions of Dunban's boots to complete the look. There really wasn't a lot that went into the construction of this outfit. The hardest part was working out the color scheme, trying to add colors besides gray and black while keeping the look overall sort of dark and mature. I do like the idea of the boys' color schemes becoming less saturated, like it represents a loss of innocence. But there's a difference between darkening colors and removing colors altogether, and I feel like what we actually got was the latter. So I tried to avoid that, by using burgundy and navy blue as support colors throughout the design. Now let's take a look at Rex. Designing him took 2 extra days, mostly due to a complete lack of inspiration. Unlike with Shulk, I really had no idea what other character I should reference to help with this design. And I think the actual character designer might have had the same issue, which would explain why they seem to have just put him in random clothes. Even the Xenoblade wiki doesn't have any trivia that explains who Rex might resemble in this outfit, or who his missing eye might be a reference to. The only thing I found was a brief note on Adam's page that claims adult Rex looks like him, which is just not true? Like, I'm really sorry, random Wikia contributor, but I just don't see it. You might as well claim that he's supposed to look like Jin. Although I feel like there's a real answer out there, and if you have any idea who it might be, let me know in the comments. I'm very curious. Anyway, between that issue and a general dislike for his original outfit, in the end, I kinda just had to wing it. I had to decide for myself what an adult Rex would look like, and take little bits of inspiration from many different places. For instance, Leftherian clothes. Some of you may remember that Rex grew up on the Leftherian archipelago, so that's the first thing I decided to look up while doing design research. Fun fact, it turns out you can still see the remnants of the series' old art style in the NPC designs. This is what inspired the helix-shaped strippity straps on his legs, and the gold earring in his ear. Since all the Leftherians seem to wear earrings of some sort, It feels like a cultural thing that Rex might have also wanted to do once he settled down. Now, most of the design was actually inspired by the canon version, because I do think it's a really cute outfit. If this were the design of a random NPC or side character in the game, one who didn't have narrative importance or previous designs to contend with, I'd probably be in love with it. So, like they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I used the structure of this design, with the skin-tight shirt, vest, and coattails, as a base for my own. And speaking of the coattails, this is the one spot where I finally did come up with an idea for a reference to another character, Mithra. The sharpened cut and the skewed cross designs mirror the light-up coattails attached to Mithra's dress, but here I use a simpler coloration to bring a much-needed section of solid blue to Rex's lower body. Last but not least, you may have noticed that Rex is a lot shorter here than he's supposed to be, but this isn't a mistake. I drew him that way on purpose. I know the reason Rex is small in XC2 is because he's a literal child, and there's no reason he couldn't grow into a giant tower of muscle and brawn as an adult. However, I don't know, I'm just kind of used to him as a small character, and I think it'd be fun to have him be a short adult too, to create a sort of consistency. And since this is my drawing and I can do what I want, I decided to try that out here. Personally, I think the stockier proportions look friendlier, and much more in line with his down-to-earth character. So yeah, in conclusion, I think I would have preferred to see Shulk and Rex in outfits like these, something more lively and colorful and visually interesting. References to their original designs would be ideal, which is why I took the time to put them in, but honestly, even if they didn't bother with that, the least they could have done is make the design striking and memorable. If the literal foot soldier characters in this game can get somewhat unique outfits, why are two of the most important figures in this whole trilogy stuck with generic battle gear? They really deserve better. Anyway, thank you for watching, like, subscribe, whatever, and check out my Coffee Page gallery to see the finished pictures in these videos. Till next time!